Easy. One of the nice things about these sort of cans is to minimize dishes. Instead of pouring this into a pot and cooking and getting the pot dirty, crack it open just a little, put it in boiling water, let the heat heat it up that way. Now, you want to put some marbles or something underneath, some bolts or something, because you don't want this directly on the bottom of the pan, because if there's no water under there, the heat transfer will cause the bottom part to scorch. So you want it up supported off the bottom of the pan so the hot water can go all around it and heat it up that way. I talked about the food. Now let's talk about preparing the food. And so let me put up some links here. And again, just a reminder, if you actually buy anything from these links, I do get a, well, anywhere from 0% to up to 6%, but usually it's 4% commission price on here. So cooking and a grid down sort of thing. First off, if the power is off, the electricity is off, especially during the summer and it's really hot, you probably don't want to cook indoors. So you want to go outside where the cooking heat can escape some. So out in the patio or at least in the garage or something like that. So you probably won't be using the big stove in your kitchen. If you have a gas range, a gas cooktop, that's excellent, because even when the power is out, a lot of times the gas is still there. Now, in the case of an earthquake, that might have been a problem. But at least in the Texas area, you pretty much always have natural gas unless there's some sort of gas line problem. I know a few years ago out in East Texas, it got cold enough that the valve systems on the natural gas pipelines that fed Palestine and a few of the Woodville froze up, and so natural gas to those two cities was stopped flowing, because when every so often along the natural gas line, there are sensor stations that say if there's a problem or not. And if there's a problem, they shut things down. So all the businesses and all the people were without natural gas for their hot water heaters and everything else. So it's good to have some sort of camp stove available. And in the past, it was always the big green Coleman, white gas sort of camp stoves that like your parents took camping with them, car camping. Thankfully, there is a much smaller way of doing that now. And let me just pop this open. This is what I like. I actually first encountered these. Oops, helps if you put it in the right way. So I first encountered these way back, 16 years ago in China when I was over there. A lot of restaurants were using these little stoves just cooked at the table. So this is a little stove, and it uses this little removable butane cartridge. Let me just pop this out. And you can buy these cartridges at Walmart and at Academy. So that's really good. I have multiple of these stoves, but nowadays they make one that has an adapter here that you can hook to a regular propane bottle. So that's the one I recommend. That's the one I put in the link here. So it can use either the little disposable butane canisters or the larger green type propane, or yeah, those are propane. But just it has an electric start. You fire it up. I'm not going to fire it up in here because my hair is getting really cool and long and I don't want to ignite it on fire. But these are excellent little cook stoves. And like I said, they fold away into a nice little case like this. So really, really handy. The tank of butane that you saw with that lasts about 3 meals. So you got to plan accordingly. Usually you'll want several of those butane containers. The larger green bottles, like you use for the propane torches and so forth, those will last like 5 days of cooking or so forth. I used, when I was just cooking for myself out at Big Bend for a week, I had one of those and it lasted more than the entire week I was out there. And I was cooking 2 meals a day, making coffee, frying eggs, frying bacon, boiling water, the whole works. So this sort of little cook stove, and they're relatively cheap. When they first came out, they were like 14 bucks, and you could only find them at Asian markets around town. But now they are so popular that you can find them at Walmart and Academy and things like that. Or you can order it from Amazon, and I get 4%. So really, really, really good cook stove. Now, those of you who are into camping or backpacking or anything like that, you probably already have a favorite cook stove that works great. So stick with that. I mean, this is definitely not something you take backpacking, but it is great for car camping. So if you're doing that sort of thing, really, really, really good. Along with that, oh, I didn't grab it. Shoot, I was running around. Those of you who saw, it was a very exciting and adventuresome day today. So I was running around. But a CO2, a CO, carbon monoxide sensor. Because if you are burning fuel in a house without any sort of ventilation, you can develop very dangerous amounts of carbon monoxide, which can be deadly. And what's really bad about it is at first you get a really bad headache. You think like you're just exhausted or dehydrated or something, and then you pass out and die. So if you are getting one of these stoves, you definitely want a carbon monoxide monitor too, because even if you're out in the garage, wherever there's any sort of limited ventilation and you are burning fuel, you are producing carbon monoxide. These stoves are really, really efficient. They burn really, really well, but you never know when you get a little grease or something plugged in there that can lower the efficiency and you start producing carbon monoxide. So you definitely want a carbon monoxide monitor, and I left it upstairs, and I already pretty much tapped what I can from Mrs. Weather, so I'm not going to send her to get it. Okay, 1 gallon of Coleman fuel is equal to 4 1-pound propane tanks. Oh, that's good information. I didn't realize that. I like the propane just because it's a little less messy than Coleman fuel. You don't have to like very carefully pour it in or accidentally spill it around. I do have one of those big old Coleman stoves in my big car camping thing, but I really, really, really now 90% of my car camping cooking, or Hurricane Ike and Harvey and all that, it was this thing. Very, very, very handy. Like I said, especially when you get, either the butane cylinders or the adapter that allows you to use the propane. Curtis, I have great memories. So many hot dogs. I ate so many hot dogs cooked on those big green Coleman stoves. Yes, Cody, death is bad. Generally, it depends on whose, but instead of pouring this into a pot and cooking and getting the pot dirty, crack it open just a little, put it in boiling water, let the heat heat it up that way. Now, you want to put some marbles or something underneath, some bolts or something, because you don't want this directly on the bottom of the pan, because if there's no water under there, the heat transfer will cause the bottom part to scorch. So you want it up supported off the bottom of the pan so the hot water can go all around it and heat it up that way. Yeah. Okay, so that's how you cook the food. That's how you protect yourself while you are cooking the food so you don't die. Now I want to talk about the hygiene for dishes.